Okay, Steve, you got a story for me?
You know, uh, I've been sober, yeah, alcohol-wise, for 50 years this year. Uh, I had my last drink in 1975, and I had to quit then just because hair of the dog didn't work anymore. It wasn't my idea. But I was talking to this buddy of mine yesterday about past lives, and it reminded me of 1969. Again, after some bad checks on a binge, I was in Longview, Washington, and both my banker and the sheriff insisted I go to AA.
The sheriff.
Yeah, well, bad checks at a local market.
I take it you guys were on first name basis?
Yeah, you could say that. And anyway, so, I end up at my first AA meeting. It was an inevitability in my life. I still, I'm like, what am I then? I'm like 20 years old, and it's all these old guys, and they wonder what the hell I'm doing there. And, the first thing that struck me, particularly back then, it's all these addicts, is everybody was chain smoking and guzzling coffee. And decades later, when I was at the Cannabis Cup in Amsterdam, I remember sitting there in a room with the 2,000 other judges, and everybody was using a different smoking device, pipes, bongs, joints. So the entire room was covered in smoke. And I looked over, this is 1995, and 60 Minutes filmed it that year. And so I look over to my left, and here's the producer, this short woman from CBS, and she's crouched down next to me by my feet over there. I leaned over, I said, "Wait, what the hell are you doing?" She said, "Yeah, I'm trying to get beneath the smoke. I can't breathe in here." And I said, "Obviously, you've never been to an AA meeting, because everybody was just doing something." So I was introduced to some people before, and there was a guy there, everybody, you don't give your last name, call him Dan X. He was the city editor of the local paper and a drunk, and he'd brought his wife with him. And so the meeting, it went well. Some of the funniest stories I'd ever heard in my life, and I got up and told one at the end, and I was really enjoying it myself, except his wife kept staring at me with this kind of abject terror, and I was sort